We kept making us stuff. Maybe over 15 people. We lost people. They got a road action, like go a bunch. Don't know if it was this week or last week. Yeah, I heard like
30 companies.
that's what I heard. 30 companies.
Internet is really slow.
Not good. I think corporate wide. Corporate wide to go was 25%. So I think Frank is the one with the thing.
All right, guys, you guys are live. You guys are live.
We'll call the regular monthly meeting of November 3rd, 2020 in order. At 4:05 p.m. Approval of the minutes of the October 6th, 2020 regular meeting. So get an approval of those, please. Are there any changes, deletions?
I make a motion to accept.
Motion by Paul,
I'll say.
second by Donna. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign. Looking at the dashboard report for the end of October. You can see that our water revenue is up above budget and above last year. So we're continuing to have water sales during this particular time. The expenses for the water, the labor is up above budget, and the maintenance is above budget in the water area. The water maintenance had to do with the well field cleaning of that well. And we also have been working some overtime because of the HEDA system. So we're hopefully that will come back into in line as we go forward. You can see that the water balance, we're running about a 3% loss. And water unaccounted for is running about 10%, which is a little better than what we have done in the past. Under the sewer revenue and expense summary there, revenue continues to run slightly ahead of budget, but pretty much on track with what we had expected it to do for this year. Better than last, it's lower than last year's budget revenue. Some of the outside contractors outside the disposal, outside of the normal sewer system, the revenue has slowed down there. On the expense and court side, wages is about right on track with budget, as you can see, slightly below last year. And most everything is tracking expense-wise reasonably well with what we had thought it might. So we had budgeted sizable loss for this time of year, but right now we're at a slack to much smaller loss than what we had at about $6,600 in the sewer. And revenue and water was about 37,000.
So these again represent a monthly picture up at the top, only the lower left-hand corner that's cumulative.
Yes.
Okay.
The bank is reported on a cumulative basis, not on the monthly basis.
So-
That's going, that's through this period. That's from the beginning of the budget year through this period right
Which
here.
is July,
Yeah.
begins July 1st. So July, August, September, so we're through 4 months. So you're telling me this number up here, like the very first one, 505,440
That's your total revenue through the end of October.
for 4 months.
Right.
And then the green beside in that same set of columns was where we were last year.
Yeah. in October.
So we're making 505 versus 450 last year at this time.
Right.
That's logical. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the dashboard report? Questions, comments? Okay, the cash balance on the October trial balance report for 10/31/20 was $1,004,128 as compared to October 31st of 19 of $737,078. Do we have any large payments or anything that needs to come out of there?
Linda made me aware of $46,000 worth of principal and interest payments that will be made at the first of December. We do have a couple of other projects that we're working on. The wellfield transmission project is right. Our plans for funding that project was used the loan as a Sandy General Fund for that. And, whatever work we do on the diffuser will be paid for like that as well. Remember, we did borrow separately for the meeting project. But, the city did up the credit limit of like $1.3 million, if I'm not mistaken. It's conditional though upon a monthly installment plan to pay back that whatever the unpaid balance is, and the minimum payments $5,000 a month, $5,000 a month. So Linda will be making those payments, I think, automatically. You know, as you can, when you get ahead on your cash, you probably want to get it knocked back down again. But that I understand was going to be a perpetual thing until it changes later. So.
How much do we have with that one? Are we borrowing right now?
Well, we just borrowed about what, about 400,000?
Yes. It is. I'll tell you exactly. I can get over there. 418,465. No, I did the wrong thing. Never mind. I highlighted it. No, I want to highlight that. It's 414,813.95. 414.
Never mind, the bulk of that is for what? That 440,000. Why did we find it out?
The $414,000 was used last year in the final stages of removing the silage and the lining that we were done.
Okay. Addressing good old action plan, right?
Yes, yeah, complete.
Corrective action plan.
All right, in your packet, you have, the bids.
There's just some, there's a summary of the deals for the bid opening and the wellfield thing. Here's
We have two bids in the well field where we're connecting the well number 6. This
This
is
is a well number 6.
Yeah, well.
So that was in the capital improvement plan we budgeted for it this year. We're gonna extend the 16-inch transmission main from around well number 4 up to catch well number 6 on Long Valley Road. The length of that project's somewhere around 1,700 feet, plus or minus. Most of it's gonna be 16-inch. There'll be some 10-inch. And we're actually putting in HDPE, so we're gonna use 18 instead of 16 because the ID difference. Well, the way we looked at doing that, we had material quotes and we were able to get the HDPE materials for less than $30,000. So we didn't have to take sealed bids on it, but on the installation we did, and that's what we had there. We had 2 bids, Travis Construction and Arco. So we did 2 alternates. We did an alternate for installation of ductile iron, and we did an alternate for installation of HDPE. So ductile iron was alternate 1, HDPE was alternate 2. The reason we did that, we were still getting pipe pricing at the time. So after it's said and done, our recommendation is to proceed with HDPE and proceed with a low bid for HDPE, which is Travis Construction. And for this particular application, HDPE should be fine. I did run a life cycle analysis on it, and HDPE just edged it out slightly. I would tell you that the 2 alternatives were very similar. On HDPE, we assume a design life of about 50 years, and on the ductile iron, a design life of about 100. So when we backed it all up into present work analysis, the 2 alternatives are about the same. So our recommendation would be to proceed with HDPE. It's significantly lower in cost on the initial capital expenditure. And it's in an installation where there's not going to be a lot of digging in that area. And so it's going to be within our well field. So that's the recommendation. The budgeted amount was significantly more than what appears that we're going to actually have to spend on that. So we're going to have plenty of money from a budgetary standpoint, probably enough money there to top that scale on top of it. So that's about what we're going to do on the scale project. And that would be get on the well field and do a shot.
So we have the two bids for the contractor's work. Travis at 47.8 and Arco at 49,600. And we have ordered because it was less than $30,000. We ordered the HDPE pipe, and we approved this recommendation of Travis as the contractor for 47.8. They can start work, weather permitting, within the next week or so to get that finished up before winter hits us this year.
You don't need a motion to accept the bids.
Need a motion to accept the bids, please. Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid from Travis for $47,800.
Second. Paul, motion. Steve Freeman, second. To accept the Travis bid for $47,800. Any more discussion, questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the like sign. Travis knows that we're ready to go.
Okay, so just as a side note, the other things we're doing on the well field right now, our crews are dismantling the piping off the well that we're going to abandon. We're going to move that piping over and reuse it on this new well number 6. And most of that stuff's in good shape. We've been in contact with Division of Water, and I'm confident our water withdrawal permit will be issued. There were some conditions that we had to fulfill as part of this permit, this construction process, and we've gotten our samples off the wells, and we don't anticipate. We did some prior sampling, everything looked good. they wanted some additional sampling, and we did. We got those last week. We don't anticipate any problems with that either. We haven't seen it with any of the other wells, so that should happen. The only thing left that we've got is to update our wellhead protection plan, and that's not gonna be hard to do. The only thing is the Division of Water will have to remodel the catchment or the protection area. And whatever changes are in that, we'll have to revise the plan to reflect that, but the administrative measures shouldn't change it, so it should be straightforward.
So what wells will be active now, once we get this project done?
So
We're gonna be
you're
using
gonna-
wells.
You're gonna have 4 over there on the, which would be the south side of Long Valley Road, and you're gonna have 1 on the north side of Long Valley. And that's the easiest way to say it.
Okay.
You got room to build 2 new wells beyond these 2, so you're gonna have 3 1,000 gallon a minute wells, and you're gonna have 2 700 gallon a minute. And we can't get all of that to the plant, but we have found our problem with our transmission main, and we've been able to improve that. The capital plan's got things in it to improve that even further. But I think the source, and when you look back, the source water issues have been addressed. I think the city's in good shape long term to have the source that it needs. The main issue is just a well maintenance, and you're gonna have to do that on an annual basis. And that'll be based on the number of hours of operation of wells are in service.
Is number 6, the new well put in service, is that the one when you go, when Long Valley Road goes north-south and then it makes a quick turn
Yeah,
and it goes east?
Yeah. And you
Will you go straight from there where
Right
the
down the road.
generator was?
Yes. Well, number 6. One that we're planning to abandon is well number 5 is by the railroad track. So it's out further north.
Okay, so it's even farther out than,
Yeah. And
Number
so
6.
if you were to, when you come around that corner, you'd make a left right there pretty immediately and go all the way to the railroad tracks. That's the well that we're abandoning. And I believe the problem with that well is the water is pulling is from the north side of the tracks instead of what's flowing down out of the southeast there. And that water just has a lot more iron. We never did get the water below 14 parts, and we just could not blend that and run it through our filters. Our filter run times would be as short as a day if we were using that water. Right now, we're able to run pretty much for a month without having to backwash our filters with that other water. So, we're using, most of our wells meet secondary and primary standards. Only other exception is well number 4 has some excessive iron that has to be removed, but it's very treatable, and blended, it's not much of a problem.
On the diffuser replacement project in the river. And Tim is heading that up as the project manager. And they're working on that. Right now, because of the heavy rain we got, they've got the river coming up. So can't do any river work on that project. Gonna do some diving to see what was going on below the water in the river, and not able to do that right now. So
We are hopeful though that we might be able to do it later part of this week. And so we fabricated the diffuser. We're replacing in town what we've already got out there that got damaged by barge or something. And we were planning on trying to get that here in the next 3 weeks. And Silas and Tim went out there last Friday and located the sewer as it went into the water. We've done a survey and we know what we've got to deal with. We just needed a diver to get out there and look at what we're dealing with below the water surface. And we're going to have our implementation plan to get the thing installed together and just try to do that in a day's time.
is it gonna sit in the same location?
Yes, yeah. We didn't want to get into the permitting issues.
Is it trenched at all then?
Well, there is some excavation out in the river where this thing is, but we're not going to do much. We're not planning on doing much. we're just trying to minimize the disturbance, you know how that goes. And, the engineers talked about reopening that permit up, as part of this corrective action plan, and I said, we don't want to do that. It would take years to get a core permit but we're allowed to do maintenance work under the terms of our existing permit. That's what we're doing, maintenance work. So we're just replacing in-kind, it's the same design details that we used on the original design, we're just taking the old out, putting the new.
We have a buoy or something on top of that.
Well, there was supposed to be a red nun buoy in there, it was in the permit, and that buoy's been long gone. I don't know when it was knocked down, the Corps, and the Coast Guard normally maintains the buoys on behalf of the Corps, since that's a private installation, we being private, we have to maintain the buoy, so it'll be something we'll have to look at. The red buoy is an indicator that, hey, there's something down here,
Is there a shore sign?
no, there's not.
Can we,
We could probably
can we put
in.
one in
Yes. we could
that says
probably-
there's a outfall pipe, sort of like they have at the prison,
Right.
or they have, say that they have the outflow pipe there, or inflow, whatever it is.
Everybody knows that there, most people, that would be a good idea to put the sign.
I didn't know. I know it's there, yeah, myself. My wife wouldn't.
Let's add the sign, and that way maybe somebody, boat or barge or whatever will.
Both of them, where the electric cables and gas cable or pipelines go and all that, the signs and the side.
All right. So you got a timetable on that as soon as you can.
Right. We're trying to get in a position, we've got all the capital projects either under construction or done. The only one exception is gonna be what Rivercrest Engineering will do for us on the wastewater plant. And that one probably won't be ready for submittal of permits until the year. And then, there'll be the early spring construction this summer. So,
All right, on the corrective action plan with the state of Kentucky, we do quarterly reports on that. Next report will be due January 15th of 2021. Chad McCann will be working with us on those, because he's got to submit information to the state, particularly after we get through this phase of work we're doing right now. So,
a copy of this third quarter report is in the board packet. You refer to it, and there's really not any issues of concern. We're on schedule. And, if anybody wants to get a copy of the schedule, I'll be glad to send it to you. The thing that we're concentrating on right now is, we went through our pilot study and it went great. I would say in all respects, and so we're looking at permanently installing. We think we're just going to install the pilot skid, just purchase it. It was $14,000 or something like that, and put it in permanently. That'll get rid of that gaseous chlorine safety hazard at the wastewater plant. Plus, we believe that it's just better treatment, better overall. And we finally got a handle on what the dosage rates are and what we need to do. I'm not gonna say we're gonna be 100% perfect, but Silas seems to have a handle on that. The other thing, like we mentioned, Rivercrest is doing the lift station design and the other miscellaneous improvements to the wastewater plant. So those things seem to be going okay. I would say compliance has been great on the wastewater plant. We did have a sanitary sewer overflow with a 5-inch rainfall. And it was due to capacity limitations at the influent lift station. We just couldn't pump all of it that came in the system. So we've still got problems upstream, but we're going to increase the capacity of the lift station. We'll be able to pump it up into the lagoon. And the operating plan that's been developed for the lagoon handled that very well. And I feel like we've got good treating solids. You know. So that to be in compliance, removing all those solids made all the difference in the world. Of course, it doubled our detention time and the treatment time. That was only logical. So,
What does that mean? It doubled our-
well, the level of treatment is dependent upon the amount of time that it's in residence within the treatment cell itself. So just imagine a drop of water. You know, right now, it'll probably take, I don't know right offhand, I hadn't calculated in a while, but the flow rates that we're running, you know, we may have detention times that are in excess of 30 days right now. Well, if the solids were halfway full of lagoons, that would have been 15 days. And just the type of breaking down all the material that needs to be treated out, we just didn't have the time to get the process biologically to take care of everything biologically complete. So that's why you're not getting the removal rates that you're supposed to get. Well, now, you know, our plant's rated for capacity of 800,000 gallons a day, and our average daily flow with all the I&I and everything counted in, it's around 400. So we're running at about half capacity. One of your strategies is, you know, we're trying to get the state to tie their facilities on, if they can get it here without causing us any problems in the collection system. So, you know, they're going to generate you another $100,000 a year of revenue to treat them waste. We got the capacity to do it too.
Have we had any plans to do any smoke testing?
Yeah, we budgeted. Remember, we talked about that, and we did put money in the budget. We will do that probably during the spring, probably the flow studies in the spring, and then right before summer gets here, do the rest of it.
It's going to do that when it's dry, right?
Yeah, that smoke test in the water table needs to be down where the smoke will come up. You know, water will prohibit the smoke from coming to the surface if it's the water table is probably suitable. But yeah, we had budgeted for some more SSES studies, and the target area is Camelot, and the other target area is Kingswood. And some of that Ironwood area, but Ironwood's not that bad. That lift station doesn't really struggle that much. But we know we got infiltration and inflow coming out of Kingswood, and that's one of our newer subdivisions, but it's bad in places. Well, in his house, right below it's a major root intrusion problem. We've been up there, there's a problem there. We got a problem somewhere close to the wastewater plant. It does not take long for that thing to peak out right after a big heavy rain. It just doesn't take long. So there's a problem down there close to that plant. So West Side Interceptor, something, and you know, we're going to be looking for it. Just gotta find it.
Wait, when we go back to double the dish, what's double the volume? What you're telling me?
The available volume for treatment is double.
I'm just
So, you
asking
know,
in
your time, your detention time within that cell is double what it used to be.
So it has more time to sit in there and let the bias,
Yeah, if you look at the kinetic curves from the biological treatment standpoint, you know, you'll see them sometimes as a function of percent removal. Way we look at it, we design for 85% removal. In theory, the biology takes so many days to
Right.
achieve that level, and that's how they go about designing them on their regular games. And that was the problem. I mean, we
Well,
just had too much solids.
this is just a general question about how it works. So do you guys release it to the river in a controlled fashion? Is it somehow tested before it goes out kind of thing? Is it a manual thing? Is it an automatic?
No, it's automatic. It's a continuous flow situation. We sample weekly. And we
Okay.
test weekly, that's what our permit applies.
Great. Yeah, and
So
so.
we do enough quality control, quality assurance to ensure that our effluent needs, and we'll have inspections unannounced, where the state comes in, they'll test it.
Okay.
They'll grab Silas and say, come on, we're gonna go sample your wastewater.
And so when it rains,
Before, Bill, we had a problem. We tested, and it was high right where we released it. By the time it got to the river, it would be satisfactory, but the testing is done when it's released into that chute into the river.
Yeah, that was the issue with the corn, right there with the high residuals and the high bacteria levels, you know, at the plant. We just didn't have enough detention time.
right, because of
So
the
we-
volume, rising volume because of all the waste that we built up.
So we've reapplied for a KPDS permit, and it's been submitted, and we're asking that we change some of the monitoring to reflect the extra detention time in the collection system with the PAA, and y'all don't need, I mean, it's not a real big deal from a board standpoint, but from a operator standpoint, it is a big deal, and we're trying to get all those things lined up so we can stay in compliance. And I think you got a good group of operators down there now, and I think they're demonstrating they can run the plant. We get the rest of that I&I fixed to the degree that it doesn't upset things, I think you're not going to have much problems out of state.
On the supervisory control and acquisition system improvements and data. Working on those controls. And probably gonna be close to the end of the year before we get it all installed and ready to go. So we're still fighting that issue with that, but we're in the process of doing that, getting it done. On the water treatment plant preliminary engineering report, we have that preliminary report. I've talked to the mayor about that report, and we're gonna be appointing a point advisory committee, combination of board members from here and also board members from the city council combination, and let them review that and push that project forward. Roger's working with industry right now to get data on the water softener issue, which is about a $4 million addition to the plant to determine what, if any, needs or problems or anything that we can do that would support and that kind of additional money for the plant, in addition to saving our water heaters inside the city. Sort of that. I think that's where we are with that, unless you got any other thing to say, Roger, on that.
I'd just say if any of the board wants a copy of the report, I'd be glad to get it to them. You know, I've got it. I can send it digitally, or we can print it. Copy the report.
Please,
Okay.
please.
Would you like hard copy or digital?
Digital.
Steve? Yeah.
Glenda, where are you on the payment system?
We went live. Everything has just went so smoothly. The girls, everybody, trained. We are getting payments. And it's just went just great. So I think, we're getting more and more as more people see it and realize that they can do that. I think they're going to take advantage of it.
And when they take advantage of it, are they doing it automated every month, or are they gonna just do it digitally every month? They're gonna choose to make a payment each month, or do they have an option to just go ahead and set up something with an account? Take it out?
No, I'm not sure. I'm almost thinking they maybe can set it up to make that payment each month, but I'm not sure about that. You know, we do the automatic withdrawals, which I'll take care of those. But, oh yeah, we've done that for years.
Okay.
But this is with the credit card payment. And we have people come up and they're very happy. They can walk up and swipe their cards, make their payment. So, it's working good. We have moved forward.
That's good. That's good. Along with that, payments and so forth, we have a group of customers. Myself, that is in compliance with the governor's statements earlier that we could no longer disconnect and that payments were not required for utilities. We have these accounts in arrears above $250. In your packet also is a letter as such. Has not been sent out. Yeah. But understanding of what the governor has said is that we can now start back the disconnection process. I think you may have seen, watched Channel 6, you've been seeing some of the Paducah Water announcements concerning this. But what they're saying is it kind of falls in line with our payment plan and our ordinance that we can set these people up on payment plans. At the top one there, $552 in arrears. We're proposing that 12 months of that. They're looking for something in the range of $50 a month payments over and above, but they have to keep their current water bill paid and caught up to date. And at that point, you don't cut them off if you're complying with that. Short of that, if they don't make the payment in arrears and also keep their current water up to date, then we have the right to implement our cutoff policies. The way I understand that's correct. I guess anybody less than 250, we're going to ask if they pay arrears plus that, or do we have any less than that?
I don't know, we've been going back and forth with that. We thought maybe if they were 100 to 200 behind, they could have a 6-month payment policy and keep their current bill up to date plus whatever they're in arrears, pay that. No, it's hard times for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. It's a great effort. Try not to make it a burden, but yeah.
Right,
Try to
but to help them get that paid off.
I think if we're going to, and we are, I mean, the executive order itself, the executive orders themselves cause us to leave the protocol established by the ordinance. I think the city council is, you guys can recommend, but I think the city council is going to have to make any changes in it's not a change in rates. It's just a change in payment protocol. Maybe not.
You don't think the fact that the governor issued that order that takes care of that, Greg? I'm just asking.
I'm sure if you asked 10 different lawyers, you would get
10 different answers.
10 different answers.
Well, let's hear your best out of 10 then.
We're only interested in one, the nice one.
I think I don't think our city council is going to have a problem with it. It probably would not be a bad idea to tell them, to report to them, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
But I think we can call the governor's edict, we can call that a safe harbor. Okay, as long as we're within the governor's edict, let's report to city council, and if they don't have an objection, we'll move forward.
Have you read that letter from the governor that talks about that?
I've seen that there is one, but I have not studied it. No, I haven't. Do you have a copy of it?
I don't have it with me. Roger sent me one to the house. We can.
Roger, if you don't mind, email me a copy of that, will you?
Okay.
And if we need to let the city council, if you think we let the city council know,
I would, only because the rates are theirs, and we did forego enforcement as a result of an executive order, and there was some question about whether or not that executive order was authorized as intruding upon legislative authority. So let's just sort of erase that problem and have our, like we did in the beginning with our own executive orders, and have our legislature, that is our city council, at least tacitly approve that intrusion into legislative authority. Because, the collection procedure is spelled out in our ordinance. And so we are altering that procedure. We did it initially. We altered it initially because of executive order. And so we're, at least my position is going to be, we're altering it again as a result of not a mayoral, but of a governor executive order. So we allowed the intrusion the first time. We'll continue to observe the intrusion, but we did have our legislature pass a municipal order acknowledging that intrusion and approving it. So, yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. And for that matter, they're the ones that are going to get called by the public when the public starts receiving these notifications from us. They're the ones that are going to be having to face the music. So it would probably be a good idea to let them know what's going on.
we've got a letter here in the list of at least the ones over 250. We might need to get a list of everybody.
And we have that.
In a
Yeah.
letter.
We were just doing the larger ones.
These are the only larger ones then, over 250. Great.
We had one walk in yesterday and paid over $500. They paid all their back ones. So, maybe we'll have others do that.
In the letter mentions that in here, it says that pay the balance in full if an extension is not needed. So it's a matter of assisting those that need to pay.
Yeah, they might want it in that first sentence. Will resume normal disconnect practices as of per the ending of the governor's mandate or whatever.
The city attorneys have been batting this around, and I'm looking to see if I can find a copy of that. But it's not coming up on top here.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Hey,
A reference to executive order in the letter.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Got a date on it. I put that date in there. That way they'll be
bother you calling and saying, oh, you can't do this, you've already told them. Things change.
I still struggle with this, we're lucky.
You know, I saw figures on some kind of report about rent, like rent, like the national debt. I mean, unbelievable.
Bill Robertson told me what Paducah Waters was, and it was a big, big one. I wanted to say it like $1 million.
That executive order is 2020-881, October 19th, 2020.
Say that again, Dan. 881 what?
It's 2020-881. It's dated October the 19th, 2020. You were copied on it from Roger.
On an email?
Yes.
All right.
Steve was copied, Paul was copied, Donna was copied.
Okay.
I don't know. They must be, are they still working on the building out there?
No, I think it's something here.
He's got his robo vacuum cleaner going or something.
That's great.
I don't know.
Anyway, take a look at that.
Oh,
You're saying we got.
okay, I got it.
The governor executive order you sent to us. Yeah, I do remember that
Yes.
now. Around that day, 10/19.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The letter was included.
Okay.
Why don't you let us know, let me know, Greg, whatever we need to do with that, rather than wait on an answer.
I see. Help me get to it quickly here. I see in paragraph 1, he rescinds it effective November 6th. Does he spell out some parameters? And November 6th.
Which is the end of this week.
So he says the term of default no less than 6 months. Okay, so subparagraph A there spells out the term, the details of the plan. Is the one you've got identified here, does it fall, is it 6 months? Is it no less than 6 months and equal installment payments?
Greg's letter that's in the package here was drafted up by KLC, Kentucky League of Cities. I don't know if you trust those guys or not. That's who drafted it up.
Well, I generally do, and I did not get the copy of that letter, so I don't have that either.
That's I wanted to tell you, that's where it came from. That's not anything we dreamed up. That's a drafted the letter.
It's got a 6 month for anything less than 100 to 200, 9 months on 200 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 12 months, and anything over 1,000, 15 months.
Yeah, that follows the terms of the governor's order. Is that satisfactory with you guys?
Yep.
It's really good.
Okay,
I'm sending you the document now.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But what you just read complies with subparagraph A of the 3A of the governor's order.
I just sent it in Gmail, Greg.
Okay. Did you send it to calvertcitylawyer.com?
No, I think I sent it to you personal. Would you like a text?
That's the only one I get is Greg at calvertcitylawyer.com gets it to me.
Okay. Can I send it via message? Can I just send it?
Sure, that's fine.
You only do your phone number.
270-703-3983.
Got it. Okay. Sent.
Thank you, Bill.
It's trying to send it. I need to hold this up. It's trying to send it. It's still little circles going.
Okay.
Okay, so with that modification to the letter, let's talk about the governor's orders. And
Got it.
we as a board are ready to, okay, that I think, to send it out. And if Greg says we need to take it to city council, we can do that at the next meeting, so. Which will be coming up, what, Monday night, so. Yeah.
Do we need a motion on that one?
Yeah, just go ahead, just give them record, that'd be fine.
We'll make a motion.
It works. It works.
We submit that letter as written with the addition of the reference to the executive order to the city council.
I'll second.
Okay, motion in a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 In reference to the executive session, had a conversation this afternoon with the mayor. And as you all know, we're a city board, somewhat independent, but the mayor has the right to hire, fire, and do whatever. So he and Greg is looking at several things relative to the water board and the issue that created Roger leaving. So we're waiting on him to make up his mind what he wants to do relative to that. So we don't need to go into executive session today to discussing. Any other matters? Anybody's got- No.
Next month.
All right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, okay, second,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I hope not. Reincarnated.
That was on Bob.
Yeah,
Hi, Greg. I'll call you, okay,
okay.
about the letter,
Which one?
the one we just talked about.
Okay,
Well, we did, Carrie and I were discussing, I don't know, we changed, that first number was up to $200. And we just thought, oh my goodness, do we want to give, if they have a $30 bill or a 40, do we want to give them a 6-month payment plan?
well, now, wait a minute. This says,
So do I have to do that?
no,
So that's what I'm gonna ask you about.
well, hang on just a second here. This says from $100 to $200. It doesn't say up to, I don't see up to
Right,
200.
but that's what we put, but I think the KLC original letter said up to $200. So do we have to go by that?
I don't think, hang on just a second. Let me pull that back up. Dang it.
Donnie doesn't live in the city
No, he didn't. He didn't.
I mean, I can call you tomorrow. Just, we'll discuss
Let me,
it.
we'll discuss it, but let me take a quick look here. Okay.
I know his old house.